Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Chapter 46. Among the white and cyan entries, the purple epic entry is particularly conspicuous. Su Bai glanced. She is a young woman, looking in her early 20s, with short black hair, and her appearance is not top-notch, but she can score 8 points. About 1.7 meters tall, very tall. Wearing a black leather jacket, his expression was indifferent and indifferent. Unlike others, she did not rush forward. Although there was also desire in his eyes, he restrained himself, his eyes flashed, and he was obviously thinking seriously about how to stand out. She knew very well that this might be the only chance. Island owners rarely come to slums to recruit candidates. The people here are generally ruthless. And most island owners need obedient subordinates, which can minimize the risk. Su Bai didn't care about that. As long as the entry is fixed, the loyalty will be filled directly, and there will be no worries. Calm down. Su Bai checked the epic entry. Death Saint. Epic, triple the effect of negative abilities. The description is simple and the effect is powerful. Negative abilities, that is, the general term for various abilities such as poison, curse, and shadow. They both have negative effects and thus belong to the same category. The entry, Death Saints, is very compatible with the Dark Tree. The effect of the ability is tripled. Even if it is AD level ability, it can also play AC level effect. The only fly in the ointment is that this entry does not improve the basic attributes. However, this also confirms the power of the mythical entry. It is fundamentally different from the other 6 grades of entries. Putting away his thoughts, Su Bai walked towards the woman. Although the other party tried her best to put on a calm expression, her slightly trembling body and accelerated heartbeat still revealed her true thoughts. Has her chance come? The surrounding poor were disappointed that they were not selected. Regardless of the others, Su Bai walked over and asked, "What's your name?" Du Ling. Anything to worry about? No, I'm alone. Would you like to go to the island with me? Willing. Du Ling did not hesitate and immediately agreed. She knew very well that there was only one chance. No matter what the cost, she must get out of here. Su Bai didn't say much, just activated the mark on the back of his hand and aimed at Du Ling. Even in Blue Star, the announcement of the island world sounded in Su Bai's mind. Su Bai, the trainee island owner, do you set the target to be island residents? Please note that adding outsiders will increase the risk of monster invasion. No wonder Shen Qingling said that he couldn't recruit 2 powerful abilities. Just adding an ordinary person has reminded me like this, and adding an ability user is afraid that it will be a severe warning. But compared to that risk, Du Ling's epic entry can completely make up for it. Sure. The moment Su Bai confirmed, Du Ling's body shook, and she felt the will of the island world. This feeling brought tears to her eyes. After seeing the magnificence and mystery of the island world, Blue Star seems unattractive. But she didn't become a trainee island owner, and she didn't have the money to buy the Fruit Awakening ability. Du Ling knew that it would be difficult for her to return to the island world. It's not even possible at all. As for taking refuge with other island owners, Du Ling thought, but there is no way. In this era, the most important thing is people. She has no advantage. In terms of looks, she can't be considered the top in Blue Star. Not to mention compared to those mysterious races in the island world. Elf, Goblin, Beast-eared Girl. These races will also take the initiative to surrender when facing the top island owners. After excluding her looks, Du Ling didn't know what advantage she had left. I thought I would spend my whole life in a slum, but I didn't expect a young island owner to suddenly appear. And chose her directly. Du Ling knew that this was her chance. As for why the other party chose her, unimportant. Su Bai was also quite satisfied with Du Ling's performance. In order to avoid trouble, Su Bai did not fix the entry directly, but prepared to return to the island to fix it again. After selecting herself and Du Ling, Su Bai directly activated the teleportation. The light began to gather, and the poor people around were crazy, and they wanted to try their best. They reached out to grab Su Bai, but isolated by invisible forces. The mighty power of the island world is beyond the power of those with abilities, let alone these ordinary people. The light flashed, and Su Bai and Du Ling disappeared in place. Thump. Many poor people slumped on the ground in despair. Hope once again dashed. When his vision was restored again, Su Bai had returned to the island world. I'm back. I'm really back. Du Ling fell to her knees, grabbed a handful of dirt, and kept crying. Su Bai didn't quite understand this emotion, so he didn't say anything, just let Du Ling express her emotions first. After a while, Du Ling stood up. Islander, I haven't asked your name yet. Su Bai. Su Bai. Du Ling muttered, her eyes widened suddenly, and she said in disbelief, is it the first Su Bai to become a trainee island owner this year? That's right, it's me, Su Bai said. Du Ling's eyes were full of admiration, making Su Bai a little dark. I had no idea he was so famous. Lord Su Bai, I really don't know what to say, I'm so excited. Du Ling was incoherent, and she didn't know where to put her excited hands. Su Bai waved his hand and said with a smile, don't be so nervous, we will be our own from now on. You don't need to call me adults, just call your name, or call the island owner. Du Ling nodded again and again, everything is arranged by the island owner. Immediately, Du Ling couldn't help but ask, Islander, why did you choose me? Du Ling couldn't figure this out. There's nothing special about her either. Could it be that you pretended to be deep in the corner before, and it had an effect? If you think about it with your knees, the answer is definitely not this. Because you have value, Su Bai said. Value. Du Ling was even more confused. She didn't feel like she was anything special. If it was really valuable, it would not have been eliminated in the first place. Su Bai waved his hand and said, you'll find out later. After speaking, Su Bai looked at the epic entry, Death Saint beside Du Ling. Fixed. Ding. The entry has been fixed. The loyalty of the other party has been fixed at 100. At the moment of fixing the entry, Du Ling felt a mysterious force flowing in her body. But it was fleeting, and even made her suspect that she felt wrong. Raising her head in confusion, Du Ling almost fell to her knees the moment she looked at Su Bai. The one in front of him exudes endless brilliance, as if a god has descended. After calming down, Du Ling felt that there seemed to be some kind of connection between herself and Su Bai. Although it was a little unclear, Du Ling believed that Su Bai would definitely not harm her, so she readily accepted it. And Su Bai observed for a moment secretly, could not help but secretly startled. The effect of the system is too strong. He saw the fanatical worship in Du Ling's eyes. Su Bai had a hunch that even if she asked Du Ling to commit suicide, she would do it without hesitation. I don't know if this is good or bad. Chapter 47. Now that Du Ling's entry has been fixed, and there is no possibility of it being lifted, Su Bai put away his thoughts and said, follow me. Du Ling immediately followed. The two came to the bottom of the dark tree, and Su Bai pointed to the fruits on the branches and said, these fruits can awaken poison-type powers. This is for you. While speaking, Su Bai glanced at Du Ling and found that there was intoxication in her eyes. Du Ling was surprised and said, Island Master, I feel that these fruits are attracting me. In this regard, Su Bai is not surprising. Du Ling's entry is Death Saint, which increases negative abilities. Dark Underworld fruit is a perfect match for her. To be honest, Su Bai never imagined that he could find such a potential player just walking around the slum. In the original plan, Su Bai even planned to spend a few days going to the slums every day. In the end, the treasure was found. Even the epic level entry, it still interacts perfectly with the existing special plants. As expected of me, Su Bai was secretly proud, then looked at Du Ling and said, remember what I said just now, you are valuable. Du Ling was thoughtful. If she still didn't believe it before, then after seeing the dark fruit, she believed it. That kind of attraction cannot be faked. While believing, Du Ling once again raised more reverence for Su Bai. As expected of the island owner, she knew people with discerning eyes, and she didn't even know that she still had this value. Naturally, Su Bai didn't know that in Du Ling's eyes, her image became even more splendid. After watching the dark tree, Su Bai asked Du Ling to find the earth spirit and take care of the plants. There were many common plants obtained from the enchanted island before, and Su Bai didn't have time to check them all. Just let Du Ling go to see which ones meet the sale standards. Mark them first, then deal with them together. Su Bai will expand sales channels while developing the island. It is definitely not enough to cooperate with the Special Forces team. Now with Du Ling's help, she will deal with these trivial matters before the dark fruit is ripe. Su Bai can be a hands-off shopkeeper. Today's 5 entry fixed opportunities have all been used up, and the special plants have also been refreshed. There is no suitable entry, so we can only wait for midnight to reset. Having nothing to do, Su Bai contacted Shen Qingling and sold the 2 iron-clad lizards in a package. Shen Qingling hesitated for a moment, but still asked, "You recruited an ordinary person from Blue Star?" Although Su Bai had not returned to Blue Star for a long time, the special team had many eyes and ears, and it was not difficult to know the situation. Su Bai was not surprised, and replied, "I'm going to train a few power users." Shen Qingling asked curiously, "Is the special plant in your hand about to mature so soon?" "Oh, I see, you found it on the Magic Island, you were lucky, congratulations." "Thank you," Su Bai replied, "without the coordinates you provided, I wouldn't have gained so much." "That's your own effort," Shen Qingling replied quickly. "Bronze-level demonized anaconda, let alone a trainee island owner. Many official island owners may not be able to fight, your strength is amazing." Naturally, Su Bai would not reveal his cards and replied, "Good luck." Shen Qingling naturally didn't believe it, but this was Su Bai's secret, and she wouldn't make Su Bai unhappy by asking rashly. After a while, he sent a message and asked, "What is the fruit yield of the adult plant you got from the Enchanted Island, and if you have any extra, sell it to me." Su Bai thought for a while and replied, "I'm not sure if there are too many. If there are, I will definitely not forget you." "Okay, waiting for your message." Shen Qingling knew very well that since Su Bai returned to Blue Star to shake people so early, he would definitely harvest special fruits soon, otherwise it would be meaningless to bring people to Shanghai now. If there is any excess, she would like to acquire some. Who would think that there are too many power users under his command? But then again, how did Su Bai confirm the candidate? He was so sure that the dueling he brought back had the potential to become a power user. Shen Qingling was a little stunned. In general, to cultivate supernatural powers, first select a group of candidates, and after observing for a period of time, select suitable special fruits to eat. As for whether it can be awakened, it can only depend on luck. Not everyone can be a powerhouse. Some people do not have that potential, and even if they eat special fruits, they cannot awaken. Cultivating powers is a long and expensive process. But Su Bai is different, the selection highlights one at will. It is estimated that he returned to Blue Star on a whim, and decided to go back temporarily. Then went to the slums and slipped around. It's no big deal. The ghetto man has some flaws, but also has some good seeds. But here's the problem. Bringing only one person back, isn't it a bit too casual? Anyway, bring a few more. At least Shen Qingling wanted to cultivate new abilities, that's what he did. At least a dozen candidates. As long as there is a person who can become an ability person, it is earned. As for the rest, just stay on the island to farm, don't worry about raising idlers. Shen Qingling was curious as to why Su Bai was so sure that the dueling he brought back could become a power user. There are so many mysteries about this man. Su Bai only tweeted that he thought dueling was talented. This answer left Shen Qingling speechless. After all, it is also to cultivate supernatural powers. Is it too casual to act by feeling? However, Shen Qingling didn't ask any further, just explained some precautions. For example, in the early stage, too many permissions should not be opened, and dueling should be isolated from the means of contact with the outside world. These are all to prevent exposure of island coordinates. Although he didn't say it explicitly, Shen Qingling also hinted that if Su Bai was to guard against dueling, first find out if she was a spy arranged by someone else. Su Bai naturally agreed. However, he wasn't worried about this at all. First of all, he made a temporary decision to return to Blue Star, and he chose dueling because her entry was suitable. It is very unlikely that dueling was arranged by someone else. Take a step back, even if there is a real problem. After fixing the entry, this is not a problem. Dueling is absolutely loyal to him and will defend his safety with her life. Even if some organization brainwashed dueling, facing the power of the system, it would be emptied immediately. After a while, the Rock Soldier squad circled back. They have been patrolling around. The leading gem cat saw dueling busy in the field, and his eyes were like copper bells. Meow meow meow. What's the situation? It only went out for a tour, why suddenly a human being appeared? Du Ling also saw the gem cat, and immediately screamed in surprise. Kitty immediately ran over. Meow. The gem cat was shocked and stood upside down, urging the rock soldier to run. Its memories hidden deep in its genes are awakened. That is the tragic memory of its ancestors being rubbed in the hands of humans. Chapter 48. In the end, Du Ling didn't catch up with the gem cat, so she could only go back to look for Tu Ling. She just wants to suck cats, why is it so difficult? But then again, the cat just now seemed very unusual, and it was able to command the rock soldiers. Du Ling found Su Bai and asked curiously, Islander, that cat seems unusual. Su Bai smiled and said, that's the jewel cat. Quote. Du Ling was stunned. Although she failed to become the island owner, she also knew a lot about many magical creatures in the island world. Among them is the gem cat. This creature can bring good luck to the island and is very rare. It turned out to be seen here. Du Ling couldn't help but said, as expected of the island owner, even the gem cat has been attracted, and the position of the monthly rookie king must be yours. Su Bai is very calm, and his luck has always been good. For example, with a random swipe, I found Du Ling with the entry Death Saint. Thinking of this, Su Bai said casually, these are all small things, and being able to discover you is my biggest gain today. Du Ling blushed pretty and hurriedly ran to find Tu Ling. She has to continue counting mature plants. Su Bai nodded with satisfaction, there are not many such active employees. After more than an hour, Du Ling came over with the document in her hand. Above are her statistics. Islander, there are about 832 acres of ordinary plants on our island, of which 110 acres are mature. According to the latest price, the total price is about 650,000. Among the special plants, there are 6 dark trees, 2 golden lemon trees, 1 light fruit tree, and 1 blood spirit fruit tree. The rest are special annual plants, 307 golden pink roses, all of which are mature and are expected to be able to extract 400 grams of gold. However, my suggestion is to sell the petals separately. Some high-end restaurants have long-term acquisition of golden pink roses. Top embellishments. There are 34 Qian poisonous ginseng plants in total, which can be picked at any time or continue to be planted. The older this special plant is, the higher its value will increase exponentially, and it is worth holding for a long time. The heartbroken grass and snake eye flower will mature in about 10 days, with a total value of 7.2 million. Thorn vine seedlings take about a month to grow. There are a total of 15 star chrysanthemum seedlings, which can be picked and sold after 2 months. A total of 80 lily sunflowers, which can mature in about 25 days. Island owner, are the lily sunflowers on your island a new variety? I have never seen such high quality ones. Su Bai said casually, these scorching sunflowers are quite special and can awaken E-level fire type abilities. Du Ling was shocked. There is still such a blazing sunflower. How had she never heard of it? As expected of the island owner, amazing. Du Ling gathered her emotions, and then reported, there are 75 moonlight vines next to them, and they will mature in about 40 days. These are the plants on the island right now. Su Bai nodded, increasingly satisfied. Du Ling not only has high fighting potential, but also has solid basic skills. She has finished counting the special plants on the island so quickly. Thinking of this, Su Bai asked curiously, at your level, you shouldn't stay in the slums. Du Ling shook her head with a wry smile, and said, Islander, you are really flattering me. This is just a trick. There are many people who are better than me. Other island owners have no shortage of manpower at all, so why bother looking for me? Su Bai thought about it for a while, and it seemed to be the case. It seems that he still underestimated the competitive pressure of Blue Star. Too curly. At this time, it was getting late. Du Ling took the initiative to invite Ying and started cooking food. When she saw the piles of semi-finished cooking bags prepared by Su Bai, she was speechless. The owner of his own island is really too general. Although these can be eaten, the taste is definitely not much better. Su Bai felt nothing. These semi-finished cooking packages are sent by the special affairs team, and the nutrition is balanced. The taste is not bad either. At least in Su Bai's view, that's how it is. Du Ling felt that it was necessary to let Su Bai know what it meant to eat. When someone cooks, Su Bai is naturally happy to eat ready-made. While waiting, the gem cat appeared in the distance. It was probably hungry, and reluctantly led the rock soldiers to wander back. However, Du Ling had chased him for a few hundred meters just now. Obviously, she had lingering fears and did not dare to approach after dawdling in the distance. Su Bai was helpless and could only make sure that there was no danger in his heart, and then the gem cat jumped over. He jumped on Su Bai's shoulders in 2 steps, looked at Du Ling vigilantly, and was ready to run at any time. In a moment, dinner is ready. Su Bai took a bite and had to admit that it was indeed a little better than what he made. The same as a semi-finished cooking bag. Why is there such a difference? Du Ling also prepared cat food for the gem cat, which was a preliminary repair of the relationship between the 2 parties. While eating, Xiaolu ran over from a distance and danced to Su Bai. Actually, it doesn't do that. Because of the unique contact, Su Bai was able to know what it wanted to express. The information passed by Xiaolu also made Su Bai's expression a little dignified. Du Ling asked, "Islander, is there any problem?" Su Bai pondered for a moment, then said, "Little Green said that the water vapor is condensing, and a storm is coming, probably in the afternoon of tomorrow." Storm. Du Ling's expression also became solemn. Storms in the island world are characterized by fierceness. And it's extremely violent. If one is not careful, everyone will be blown into the sea. That's not the point. The point is, every storm means a massive invasion of monsters. Monsters are also intelligent. Whenever there is a storm, the island will be busy, and this is the best chance for them to invade. Su Bai's brain was racing. With the presence of water spirits, it can control the water vapor to a certain extent and reduce the losses caused by the storm. There will be plant damage, but it is tolerable. The crux of the problem lies in the monsters that arrive at the same time as the storm. Su Bai looked at the dark tree. Despite the distance, Su Bai could still see the fruits on the branches. Reddening, but not nearly enough. If you want to mature, it will take at least 5 days. And the storm will arrive tomorrow. It was too late for Du Ling to awaken to become a supernatural being. Taking a step back, even if she woke up, she didn't have too much combat power at the beginning. Abilities require constant practice and development. Awakening ability is just the foundation. It is necessary to transform the power of the ability into various forms of skills and develop a fighting style that suits you, which takes time to accumulate. Collecting his thoughts, Su Bai said decisively, "Tomorrow you return to Blue Star, and come back after the storm is over." No. Du Ling's eyes were firm. "Islander, please let me fight together." Chapter 49. Du Ling's willingness to fight is very strong. But the strength gap cannot be filled by will. Even the iron-armored lizard of the lower level of black iron, the lowest level monster that Su Bai can kill with one punch, is not Du Ling's ability to compete. Unless she can awaken the ability, then with her Death Saint entry, there is still the power of a battle. There is a prerequisite here, the awakening ability. Although the dark tree has fruit hanging, it is in a semi-ripe state. The fruit has no effect until it reaches the mature stage. Even if Du Ling ate all the half-ripe fruits, she would not be able to awaken her supernatural powers. And without powers, she is just an ordinary person, and she may be able to kill a monster with traps or something. But when the storm came, not 1 or 2 monsters came, but a dozen or so were considered few. If you are unlucky, there may even be hundreds of them. Du Ling stayed on the island. It was easy to have an accident. Su Bai is not sure, when will the next time he find an ordinary person with an epic entry. Although it can be refreshed every day, advanced entries are hard to come by. He can't go back and forth between Blue Star and Island World every day. But from another angle, if Du Ling can become an effective fighting force, then tomorrow's battle will be much easier. While thinking about it, Su Bai found that Shen Qingling had sent him a message. When I opened it, it turned out to be about the storm. Su Bai, a storm is about to hit some areas, are you in range? Su Bai's heart moved, and he opened the newcomer chat area of the trainee island owner, and found that many people were discussing this matter. Asangwo Santu. It's really unfortunate, I only became the trainee island owner this morning, and the storm will come tomorrow, this is not giving me a way to survive. Bangzi Kingdom Park Puel. Ha ha ha, my island is not in the storm area, you scumbags wait to die. Close black lens bracket. Fusong Kingdom. I've 16 Lang. Baga, you are really inhumane, you should apologize. Close black lens bracket. Kangaroo Country Lena. How come there is stormy weather so soon? The situation this year is too difficult. Lighthouse Country Richard. Everyone, those who know the current affairs are Junji, don't hold on to the ownership of the island anymore, sell some of them in exchange for a chance to survive. The sun never sets. Fizz. I agree, although my island is within the range of the storm, I have already made adequate preparations, and 6 abilities can be teleported at any time. Close black lens bracket. Mao Shangguo Handle. HMPH. Coward, a storm will scare you like this. Open black lens bracket. Close black lens bracket. The apprentice island owners were talking a lot, and those newcomers who had not yet killed the monster were also mourning. When the storm came, more monsters appeared, and their chances of becoming a trainee island owner were even slimmer. Even if you get the heart of the island in the chaos, you may not be able to keep it. The greater possibility is to be buried directly in the mouth of the monster. Su Bai was a little surprised. The scale of the storm seemed to be extraordinarily large. It seems to have become the first test for the trainee island owners this year. It is said that Richard is so jumpy that he blatantly encourages others to sell the ownership of the island. This is a typical example of not being able to see the good of others. His heart can be punished. However, Su Bai also knows that cooperative development is a helpless move for many trainee island owners. Better to lose some ownership than to be eliminated. This point, Su Bai cannot change. Besides, he's got a headache from the storm now too. Plans can't keep up with changes. Unexpectedly, there are candidates for ability users, and the storm came first. Can you still have fun? Judging from the scale of this storm, I'm afraid I'll have to find a way to get Dueling to join the fight. With this in mind, Su Bai sent a message to Shen Qingling, I'm in the range, do you have a ripening agent? I have a batch of supernatural fruits that are about to ripen. As a last resort, Su Bai does not want to use ripening agents, which will cause certain damage to the plants. Fortunately, the damage is limited, and after taking good care of him for half a year, he will almost be able to recover. It's better than being swept into the island by monsters and wreaking havoc. Shen Qingling replied. Yes, but not many. Many island owners under the command of the special team are also in the storm area, and resources are very scarce. The ripening agent I have is only enough for 3 mature plants. It's a bit small, but it's enough. Su Bai waved his hand. Accounting. Shen Qingling didn't worry that Su Bai would default on his bill, and directly passed 3 bottles of ripening agent over. Su Bai did not use it directly, but took stock of it first. Each dark tree has about 15 fruits. Using all 3 bottles of ripening agent, he guaranteed that he could harvest 40 ripe fruits. Under the blessing of the Death Saint entry, if 40 dark fruits can't awaken Dueling, then more fruits are useless. Su Bai predicts that within 10 pieces, Dueling will surely be awakened. Thinking of this, Su Bai suddenly found a business opportunity. He can sell the extra dark fruit at a high price. The storm is coming, and the apprentice island owners are trying their best to get through the storm. In addition to various defensive weapons, power users are the most important. However, if you directly hire an existing ability user, even if you come to fight in a short time, it will bring a lot of hidden dangers to the island. Even if the storm survives, the invading monsters will make the apprentice island owner tired to defend. The risk of cultivating supernatural powers is much smaller. In the judgment system of the island world, ordinary people and supernatural beings are 2 concepts. Recruiting ordinary people will not increase the risk of the island being invaded by monsters too much. The power fruits are arranged in place. As long as there is 1 more power user, there will be 1 more chance to survive the storm. In this way, Su Bai found that not only would he not suffer too many losses, but he could make a fortune instead. Of course, the dark fruit will definitely not be sold. It's best to find 1 or 2 more candidates for ability users, and after awakening, team up with Dueling to act. When the entry is fixed, I will go to Blue Star again and bring 2 people back. Su Bai thought to himself. But it seemed inappropriate to go to the slums in the middle of the night. But don't put yourself in it. Su Bai sent a message to Shen Qingling again, are there any candidates for abilities? Yes, there is a branch of the Special Affairs team in Xicheng. I will give you the coordinates. You can choose the person yourself. Thank you. You're welcome. By the way, because of the storm, the special plant seedlings scheduled to arrive tomorrow will not be sent to avoid damage in the storm. No problem, wait until the storm is over. Su Bai ended the conversation with determination in his eyes. Sure enough, everything is up to you. Chapter 50. Call. Su Bai let out a long breath. This storm is both a crisis and an opportunity. Although there were an unknown number of monsters that appeared at the same time as the storm. But monsters also have value. Their corpses can collect various materials, all of which are of high value. If you can get a few magic energy crystals, it will be even better. Su Bai's rank can be raised even higher. The monsters that were killed on the enchanted island before were surprised that they could not find a crystal of enchanted energy, which made Su Bai depressed. Those demonized monkeys are okay to say, but there are no bronze-level demonized anacondas, which is really a big loss. Su Bai almost shut himself out on the spot. But the storm came, and he had the capital to take off again. Looking at the 3 bottles of ripening agent in front of him, Su Bai's brain started racing. 6 dark trees, only one has a fixed entry, which can provide the fruit of awakening D-level power. For the remaining 5, refresh the entry after midnight, and select the best 2 to fix. If there is no suitable entry, then the entry will not be fixed, and the E-level ability is E-level. The late-stage potential of the dark tree cannot be cut off because of this storm. The best result is to fix the entries of 2 dark trees, so that I have 3 fixed chances left. This time back to Blue Star, bring back 3 people at most. After all, he is a member of the Special Affairs team, and the heart of guarding against others is indispensable. No, before going back to select people, refresh the entries for Shuiling and Guangling, and fix them if there are suitable ones. With 1 or 2 more individuals like Xiao Shan, the battle will be much easier. However, light spirits and water spirits are not fighting races, and even if they receive entry blessings, their effects are limited. All I can say is do your best. After doing this, Su Bai found that the number of entries he could use was fixed and not many. After learning the news of the storm, Su Bai was no longer in the mood to eat. He picked up a bottle of ripener and said to Du Ling, "Follow me." Although Du Ling failed to become a trainee island owner, she also knew the effect of ripening agents. Some people said in disbelief, "Islander, are you going to ripen the dark tree?" That's right. Su Bai nodded. The scale of this storm is huge, so be prepared. You will fight as soon as you come, and you won't regret it later. No regrets. Du Ling's eyes were firm and she said quickly, "It was the island owner who brought me out of the dark slum, and you recognized my value. Although I only came to the island today, I am willing to fight to the end for the island." Su Bai didn't know whether it was because of the system or Du Ling's real thoughts. But that doesn't matter anymore. The important thing is that Du Ling has a firm will to fight. If so, then he will fulfill her. The 2 walked quickly to the underworld tree. Su Bai found the tree that had already fixed the entry, and fell down the ripening agent. The dark green liquid with a unique smell was absorbed by the dark tree. Then, under the watchful eyes of Su Bai and Du Ling, the fruits on the branches began to turn red at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, Su Bai was also keenly aware that the leaves of the dark tree were a little wilted. This is the side effect of ripening agents, which consume the vital essence of plants. This is also normal. After all, the ripening agent alone cannot make the fruits of special plants mature in advance, and special plants are required to participate in it. A quarter of an hour later, 16 red fruits hung heavily on the branches of this dark tree. Su Bai let Zhao Shan fly up with the light spirit and pick the fruit. The dark fruit is the size of a fist, the red skin has black lines, and the smell is a bit pungent. Su Bai wanted to say that this thing is to awaken poison-type powers. You are a girl, and it seems inappropriate to awaken poison-type powers. But seeing the firmness in Du Ling's eyes, Su Bai said no more. Besides, the entry has been fixed, and Du Ling's loyalty has been full. It's really unnecessary to say this now. Calm down, Su Bai said, put away the fruit first and eat it at midnight. Although Du Ling was a little unclear, she still obeyed. Thinking in my heart, maybe at midnight, the awakening efficiency of the supernatural fruit will be higher. But haven't heard anything about it. It is estimated that it is a metaphysics newly researched by the island owner. Since awakening powers are really irregular, Many people have researched various so-called metaphysical secrets in order to increase the probability of awakening, in order to reduce the consumption of power fruits. Whether it is useful or not, it is really random. Du Ling didn't know the existence of the system, and only thought that Su Bai was going to perform metaphysics at midnight to increase her chances of awakening. Thinking of this, Du Ling vowed, "Don't worry, Island Master, I will not disappoint your expectations." Su Bai wasn't on the same channel as her, just pretending to be loyal and waving his hand casually. "I believe in your potential. Du Ling has an epic entry anyway. If she can't wake up, it's obviously unreasonable. The remaining 2 bottles of ripening agent are wasted when they are used now, and they can only get E-level dark fruit. It must be until midnight to refresh the entry, and then ripen depending on the situation. Leave it for now. The next time cannot be wasted. In the case of knowing that a storm is coming, you must not sit still and be fully prepared." Su Bai came to the high point of the island and had a general plan in mind. Summoning Tu Ling and the 3 splinter bodies, Su Bai began to point out the country. His island itself has ups and downs, low in the middle and high around. Kind of like a basin. Now prepare to further enhance this terrain feature. Using the ability of the Earth Spirit, the land on both sides is stacked upright to form a natural defense surface. The 2 ends are left blank. In the case of flat passages, the invading monsters will not be stupid enough to climb hills. It can maximize the defense center of gravity from the surface to 2 points. Then let the Earth Spirit dig a few big holes at the entrance to reduce the charging speed of the monster. The pressure will be much less. Su Bai has enough confidence in himself, and with the Dragon Yin sword in his hand, it is definitely no problem to hold one direction. The other end is handed over to Du Ling and the Rock Soldier, and Xiao Shan can also follow along. If Du Ling is awakened as a power user, with the blessing of the Death Saint entry, and with the Rock Soldiers standing in front, and the high-power flashbang of Zhao Shan, it will not be difficult to defend the other end. Su Bai calculated for a moment and felt that with the combat power at hand, as long as several bronze-level monsters did not appear to attack at the same time, defense would not be a problem. But don't be too optimistic. There is another hidden danger that needs to be addressed. If there are flying monsters, it is more difficult to deal with. Although most monsters cannot fly during the storm, this situation must be taken into account. Su Bai's heart skipped a beat. He looked at the Longyan sword in his hand. If he went back to Blue Star to ask the Special Affairs team to ask for a batch of crossbows, brushed out a good entry and fixed it, and then found someone who was proficient in shooting, wouldn't he have an air defense force? When there are no flying monsters, it can also support long-distance support, which is also excellent. Thinking of this, Su Bai's thoughts suddenly brightened. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.